Well, hello again, folks. It's good to be with you again. Time again for another one of my weekly vlogs. We hope that through this whole pandemic and self-isolation that you are still not just surviving, but learning some new things, some new skills, some new ways of coping. That even though this has been a challenging time, it's been an opportunity for growth. And that's really what I wanted to talk with you about this today. In Stephen Covey's best-selling book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits that he mentions is the idea of sharpening the saw. Covey uses the example of an enthusiastic lumberman who begins a new job. And on his first day or two on this new job, he works from sunup to sundown, felling a large number of trees with his new saw. And his foreman is impressed with what he sees. But then as the days turn into weeks and the weeks into a couple of months, things change a bit because the number of trees that he fells steadily declines. And so his foreman calls him in and says that he's going to have to let him go unless things improve. But the lumberman insists that he's working just as long and just as hard as he was at the beginning. So he doesn't understand. But upon further investigation, it was discovered that this rookie lumberman had never taken the time to sharpen his saw. And so the production went down. Now, Covey's point in all of this is that in order to remain effective over the long haul, persons and organizations need to regularly put down their saw. And instead, they need to take some of that downtime and sharpen their saw. In other words, we need to regularly invest in or engage in things that are physically, emotionally, relationally, and spiritually uplifting or renewing, or else over time, we aren't going to be any good to anyone. Now, it seems like this current pandemic has required, for most of us anyway, it's required us to put down our saws by relinquishing our regular daily routines. It's forced us into an extended time of, of sitting, if you will, a time of disengagement, an extended period of break from our daily routine, from this rat race that we call modern life. And maybe this is part of God's plan, part of his severe mercy, a phrase that was coined by C.S. Lewis, so that we might find the time to sharpen the saw. Now, this putting down the saw, this pulling back from our regular routines gives us time to reflect upon what we are doing, why we are doing it, and where we can do it better. Or maybe God is giving us the time to reevaluate the whole trajectory of our life so that we can make some mid-course corrections if necessary. An essential part of God's work in this world is the work of renewal. In fact, he says in his word, "Behold, I am making all things new." So when we engage in a season of rest and renewal, it is never a waste of time. Like sharpening the saw, it's an activity that produces long-term benefits. So I encourage you to think of this time that way, a time in which you can sharpen the saw. My hope and my prayer for each one of you is that when you come out on the other side of this time of isolation and lockdown, that you will be sharper, wiser, and more prepared to take up your calling and follow Christ. Have a great week.